So is this proof that Ripsaw might be returning to Alton Towers next year? How's it going? It's Rob. So I've just got back from a few days stay at Alton Towers. I was mainly getting my re-rides in of Nemesis, but also just to look around the park of the new updates that I didn't get to take in on opening day, just to see if there was anything I missed when I originally went there on my first visit. And there were a few things while I was queuing for some rides and sort of just looking around that I hadn't originally taken in the first time around, which might nod to a certain flat ride that may or may not be returning next year. Firstly, before we get stuck in, please be sure to like this video if you do enjoy it, and if you want to see more content like this from me in the future, please make sure to subscribe. We've just hit 500 subscribers, which is insane. So thank you to everyone who has subscribed already. The next goal is to hit 1,000. I've also announced the winner of the Nemesis Reborn opening day poster, which is on my community note. So make sure to check over there to see if you've won. If you didn't, don't worry. We've got one more poster left that we're going to be doing as a giveaway. And make sure to stick around to the end of the video to hear more information on that. Right, so as we know, back in February, Alton Towers submitted planning application for a new permanent flat ride within Forbidden Valley. And Alton Towers desperately need flat rides, as the only real one left in the park that's a thrill ride is Blade. Now, as much as they aren't popular as coasters, they do really help with capacity and throughput, and they act as fillers to make sure the queues don't get too big on other rides. So a little bit of a recap of what we know about the planning application so far. The new ride's going to be located in the former Ripsaw site, or the former Funk and Fly site, which has now gone, thank God. And we know from the planning application that it has a code name of Project Ocean, but there's no confirmation of what the ride system will actually be. The ride itself though will sit on top of a 4.8 meter building, which will have a path that runs through the middle of it, which connects the path that goes from Blade's exit all the way through to Galactica. The size of the attraction is 11.5 meters in length and 14.5 meters wide, and an estimated height of 18 meters, which means the actual attraction itself will be about 13.2 meters, which just so happens to be the same height as a certain type of ride. Now the ride itself will actually take up a bit more of a bigger area, and it will take up that path a bit more that connects to the Ground Command coffee shop. Now with all this in mind, there has been heavy speculation, and I mean heavy speculation, that this is going to be the reincarnation of a former much loved flat ride, Ripsaw. And before we go into this, I'm fully aware that this might not be the case. There hasn't been any concrete proof or any confirmation that it's going to be this, but my gut prediction is that it's probably likely going to be Ripsaw, a new suspended Huss topspin. It could be a number of other rides, but I'm going to be focusing on if it is Ripsaw, how will that look like, etc. within this video. Now there are a few grey areas that I'm not going to go into too much about the clearance and spacing within the planning applications themselves, but as of now it's looking more likely than others that it is going to be a suspended topspin. So with that being said, this video is going to dive into a bit about what the ride could look like and how a return of Ripsaw at Alton Towers could look like. So it's quite well known within the Phalanx facilities / Forbidden Valley that with this new rebrand they're going towards this red and black sort of hazard tape material, and they're putting that within all different areas of branding throughout the area, and this is obviously to tie in with the new colour scheme of Nemesis Reborn. And we also know that they've carried this on a little bit towards Galactica, however they've changed it to be blue to match the sort of ride's theme and area. I've made another video on what that can actually mean for Galactica's future, so make sure to check that video above. But while I was in the queue for Galactica the other day, it was quite a long wait, and I was just looking out into the trees. I just so happened to stumble across a pattern that was very similar, but it wasn't blue or red like the previous one, it was yellow and black, and I hadn't really looked into it much before or even given it any notice. But when I actually got off the ride and started walking towards what I saw, there was a pattern on the building for the new Ground Command coffee shop that sort of, the exterior wall had that yellow and black pattern that faced out towards the new proposed ride. As I mentioned, it's the same pattern as what you'd find on the rest of the park, however it was yellow and black. And then as I was walking like 10 seconds up the path, I noticed more and more of these yellow and black patterns throughout the area. If you look close at the top of Blade, that's had a refresh this season. They've done it and they painted it nicely, but at the very top they've got that yellow and black pattern there. And as you're walking out towards Blade, there's obviously a gate they used to close off sometimes, and that has a yellow and black trim around the side as well. And I might be looking into it too much, but could that mean a sort of potential colour scheme for what that new area is going to be? Because we know that Forbidden Valley isn't just red and black, we've seen the blue and now the yellow, so I wouldn't be surprised to see if Ripsaw or Project Ocean's area sort of integrates within this new colour scheme. So if we do get Ripsaw back, there's a potential backstory that I could see working quite well, and this is just my theory and take on how it could look, so it's not gospel. So it could be that during the further experiments that we know the Phalanx have done on Nemesis, obviously to enhance the DNA, that they've done some more excavations and diggings to find more eggs and similar like we know with Subterra, and to do this they had to use some sort of tool, a drill, a saw, a Ripsaw, and during their use of the tool to dig deeper, Nemesis has sort of got control of this. Obviously we know that she fuses with steel, because half of her station is sort of metal and track, with the other half sort of being more flesh, and she's fused together with it, sort of taking control of this tool, and by taking control she's causing it to malfunction, obviously not working in an orderly manner, all while trapping the riders who are trying to use the weapon, flinging them about in various directions as we know a Huss topspin does, and then spraying them up with venom in the process, obviously as we know Ripsaw has the fountains. I mean, this all could be elaborated on or do something completely different. I just thought it's going to be a nice tie into the new storyline that's happened with Nemesis Reborn. So how will the ride actually look? So we know from the plans that it's not likely that the ride's going to be facing the original direction it would, towards Nemesis. However, it'll probably be flipped 90 degrees, so it's facing probably towards Galactica and the entrance of Forbidden Valley. And I think the reason for doing this is obviously I think it will have better viewing angles. It's levitated, so if you're standing more towards Galactica or sort of the slope that you leave Blade's exit at, you just get a sort of better viewing angles from there. Because if you're at Nemesis, the main sort of spectacle is Nemesis, so it's mainly them two directions that you want to see something else from. And there's two structures either side that we weren't sure if it was going to be integral to the ride, but these have been confirmed later on that they're going to be actual theming pieces. So could these be tentacles either side or claws that sort of enclose in the ride? Even if they're static and not animatronic, they could still look quite cool. And again, from the plans we know the ride base is going to be built out of concrete, and around the concrete edges it's supposedly going to be stencil markings as listed on the plans, which are probably most likely to be the Seek the Truth stencils or the Phalanx ones we've seen previously. Now the colour of the actual ride system itself I could see being predominantly black, similar to Nemesis Reborn, but with accents of the yellow and black sort of lines that we've seen across Blade and Ground Command, just to sort of tie it in so it's synced with that area. They could however decide to do it as black and red to sort of be even closer to Nemesis and tying that whole top part of Forbidden Valley together, but they did that with Nemesis and Subterra, so I think there's already two that are black and red, so they wouldn't need to do another. The yellow and black I don't think looks bad, and it's definitely nice to sort of have different colours that you sort of match and tie the area together. They could even keep the ride the same colour as it was originally, sort of similar to the old Nemesis track where it was sort of white and cream with the sort of rusted effect, but we know they're steering away from that now as they've painted everything black, so I probably don't think that's an option. If Ripsaw does come back, I think it's quite likely to say that the screw that goes across the middle is likely to come back too. I've seen a few newer versions of Huss topspins that have this, so it's definitely possible for that to come back. The ride's host cabin used to be a themed old truck. I could see them going with a container. I really hope they don't do this, because as much as containers that they have used so far have been great, we don't need any more containers. We know Merlin like to sort of throw them anywhere, so it feels a little bit lazy if they were. I'd rather they went in the direction of another vehicle similar to the old one, but themed more to tie in with the sort of military and phalanx. And from newer plans on the ride's fencing, we can see they're actually going to be using that pattern that I mentioned, sort of across the queue line fences, so would they have that as black and yellow as well? It mentions that there's going to be a decorative motive across the fencing as well, but they haven't specified what that is, as it's probably likely to be the ride's logo or shape of some form that's going to give it away. If it is Ripsaw, I can see them using a very similar, if not same logo as they used on the original. Will the logo itself be yellow and black or red and black? They could even add in a tagline like Ripsaw's Revenge or Ripsaw Reborn. I can't see them doing Reborn, they're not going to do that twice. And in terms of that smaller area around it, I could see them sort of tying it in more with the phalanx and having them heavy duty theming pieces. With all that being said, with this new ride, or Ripsaw going back into its former place more or less, what would this mean for the new Nemesis shop? I mean, they've only recently done it and the theming and everything inside of it is great, and with it being directly next to where the new ride is going to be, would it make more sense to have the Nemesis shop in the new arcade building, which is a lot bigger? And a lot of people have speculated that it seems like quite a big building to just have arcades in. I mean, they could easily switch them around so that the Nemesis shop goes at the top. As we know, Nemesis gets busy and there's been long queues outside the Nemesis shop, so could they move it up to the top and have that bigger space? As always, this is merely speculation and they might do something completely different to this. It might not even be a Huss topspin or Ripsaw. And with that, and as always, I'd like to pass the question over to you guys. What do you think Project Ocean's going to be? Will it be a Huss topspin? Will it be a different style of ride? What do you think? As always, please be sure to give this video a like if you did enjoy it, and consider subscribing if you want to see more content like this in the future. As mentioned, we've just announced the winner of the Nemesis Reborn opening day poster. If you didn't win, don't worry, we've still got one more poster to give away, and we're going to be doing that when we hit 1,000 subscribers. Thank you so much to everyone who subscribed already. We smashed past our 500 goal really quickly. It's a massive milestone for me, so thank you. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.